Hey everybody, welcome to Perry TV. We're checking in with Adam Sosnick and Dave Smith on Piers Morgan's. They're talking about the roast, which I thought was kind of boring, but let's hear what they have to say.
Well, listen, Piers, I did stand-up comedy in my 20s, and I decided to end up focus on making money, and that's how I met PVD in the finance world, and we started the podcast together in 2020. But I know funny. What happened with me personally, and I'll get to Charlie Kirk because I knew Charlie Kirk very well, is I said, rather than being a stand-up comedian and sleeping on friends' couches, let me make some money. 10 years later, I made a bunch of money. I owned a stand-up comedy club, and I hired comedians. In fact, the biggest star on SNL, I found him when he was 19, Marcelo Hernandez, who has the #1 show on Netflix right now. He actually worked for myself and PVD at Valuetainment. So I know funny. I'm sitting in a van down by the river right now, sweating my tush off right here. I'll shout out to Chris Farley. I've been around funny people. In fact, you know Vinny Oshana, who's on your show, one of the funniest, greatest people, who's about to cross 1 million in comedy. He's incredible. But there's also people who make their name in this career by not being that funny. Pete Davidson is one of them. Jimmy Kimmel is one of them.
Ragging on a couple of them.
That's not what I'm gonna do. But the reality is Charlie Kirk was an absolute hero. And what's happening with him, people are literally taking their proverbial shots at him. The bottom line is this. Pete Davidson, name one famous joke he's ever made. I can tell you jokes that Dave Chappelle made, that George Carlin made, that every single comedian...
Who doesn't know what George Carlin said? 730 words. It was back in the day.
...has been funny. In fact, when your dating career is more in the headlines than your comedy career, you're probably not that funny, so it's just par for the course. But the bottom line is this. We need to stop being so offended in this country and realize that free societies love comedians, and that's where we are.
Right, but so you end with a little stinger at the end because it looked like you were going down a path of saying you thought Pete Davidson crossed a line. So do you think he crossed a line, and should Netflix have aired that joke?
I don't think there's any line you can cross. The market will speak. If Pete Davidson wants to start doing stand-up comedy shows again...
I don't know if you guys have watched it, but the Netflix roast of Kevin Hart was terrible. That's all I can say. Boring, terrible.
Unfunny people. There's a lot of comedians that would have been canceled years ago, Pete Davidson being one of them. So there's no line to cross.
Okay, and Dave, I didn't get a chance to specifically ask you about this. And just very quickly, what did you think of that joke?
It was hilarious. It was a great joke. I don't even understand entertaining this conversation of whether it crossed.
I don't think it was a great joke.
Everybody's hypocrisy immediately, because the people who are outraged about the George Floyd joke aren't outraged about the Charlie Kirk joke, and vice versa. It's a roast. It's edgy comedy, and if you don't like it, then don't watch it. It's really that simple. And look, I'm
making jokes about a murder is not what you do at a roast. That's my opinion.
Again, Adam can have whatever opinion he wants on who he thinks is funny and who isn't funny. The bottom line is that millions of people love Pete Davidson, and if he does go on a stand-up tour, he'll be selling out giant theaters. So, if you don't like it, that's fine.
And he also...
that was a hilarious joke.
He also does a lot of these roasts, and he regularly has awful jokes told about his father who died on 9/11, and he laughs and accepts...
That's true.
Right, but Piers... But it's all about, obviously, right, with comedy, it's all about the intention, right?
Anyway, go watch it on Netflix if you want to see. Thanks for checking in. Please support my channel. Love you guys.